What's up, y'all? We are live from DC. Live. This is a recording. We're still in DC. It's the evening. We're a little tired, still recuperating from yesterday, but wanted to reach out with a video because actually, why? I can't. This can't be. Okay. Whew. This is one of the trinkets that we got by one of the various people passing out wisdom. Wisdom. In DC at the inauguration. This is why we're here. We're here talking to Trump voters. There are various videos we put out about this on YouTube right now. You should go check them out. If you're active on Slack, you got this live. Shout out to those of you who are still on our Slack engaging with us. You got to see our morning message where we talked about heading out for the day. You got to see us drop in small videos here and there as we traversed the Washington Mall and wove our way through Trump voters and Trump supporters and people who were interviewing Trumpers and local DC folks just watching it all. T-shirt vendors, very excited. T-shirt vendors, but we'll get into why we did it here in a second. So we'll talk about how we feel about what happened yesterday, just for a bit right now. We're going to keep this short. But we're also going to talk about something that we think is the real big thing that we can get involved in is common power. And that's Wisconsin. So stay tuned for that towards the end. Are you done? You done send out your emails?
No, I'm slacking Ian. I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
You got it?
I got it. Thank you.
All right, we're working. We're working hard. New York. You wearing a New York sweatshirt in
It's just comfortable.
DC. Oh, there you
I
go.
got this when we were in New York at my aunt's place.
All right. Shout out to Ben's aunt. If you're ever in New York and would like to buy fine gear,
Souvenir. We're one of the souvenir shops that scam you. Okay.
Whoa. All right. Well.
Anyways.
We're here in our Airbnb, and it is cold for some reason. So I look like I'm outside, and you've got thermals on. So, but that's okay. That's what it is. It is, what was it? -7 degrees.
It was never the negative. It felt like it though.
I'm sorry. It was
Because
7 degrees below
winds,
freezing.
The winds were.
It was 20-some degrees. It was.
Yeah. All right.
It was.
Yeah. It is.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I just wouldn't start with negative.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
It was really cold, and we spent a lot of time outside. We all headed out. Me, you, Matthew, Wole, and Hanson, who's it's actually filming a documentary that's partially about us, about CP, and about Mr. Charles Malden. More on that later. Hanson's going to come out with that soon, actually, in the next month or so, maybe. But we were just trying to have conversations with Trump voters. The thing that the message I sent yesterday was about taking action and learning. Taking the action that we can take, and when we can't do that, we learn. We learn from the action, maybe, or we learn something about the action that we're going to take.
We
in the
learn
future.
by feeling.
Or we learn by failing.
Mm-hmm.
We learn by failing, right? Which is what we're doing right now. That's what we've been doing for the past couple months, and I would say the apex moment of that is the inauguration of Donald Trump, where we're in DC with some of his biggest supporters. And you took a deep breath there because it felt like that. I think that when we talked about doing this, we were like, this is gonna be.
Wait, so here's the thing. So it's not like one big project. So Hanson and you plan to be at the inauguration for the documentary, right?
No, but I mean, no, I know. I'm
Yeah.
not just the projects. I'm saying how it's gonna feel.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. So then Matthew and I were on a parallel but separate mission to talk to the people that were there, and you were a part of kind of forming that. But as we got closer and closer, it felt like we were preparing our bodies and our mind and our souls
That's what I
to be
mean.
able
Like
to get into this.
the output that we were looking for doesn't matter. It was just we were all talking to Trump voters, and I think that we were. Well, let me. We'll go let you talk because what you said is different than what
You're saying.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead, finish,
Okay.
finish.
Okay. So
You just need to know that we're more argumentative, we're more debating, we're more conflict oriented because that's what we need to go through the last 3 days.
well, you go first. Okay. So that's good. So
Okay.
because you actually intentionally prepped yourself, like because you would tell me this in the days leading up. You're like, I'm trying to get ready for
Yeah.
combat. I'm getting ready for abuse, like verbal abuse. You're getting ready
I
for
was getting defensive, yeah.
yeah. Like you're getting like preemptively defensive,
Mm-hmm.
just in general to build up your armor
Yeah.
for what you thought would happen when you went out there.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that process like? Why? No, seriously.
I know.
So what did you expect, and then what were you doing? How were you preparing yourself?
So you gotta like we thought about it as like a spectrum of possibilities, right? And there's like the extreme, which is like on one end is like the unlikely possibility of everybody welcoming us. You know, like this is like a huge day for America. Everybody's welcome, American citizen, blah, 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 right?
Okay.
Festivities and all over the things. The other end of the spectrum that's also highly unlikely is violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
That like it would be if you weren't overtly down for the cause or supportive of Donald Trump, like you would be driven out. There would be like combative stances. People are like immediately calling you out, you know, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And to be honest,
you're like insurrection, but turn the other direction, defending the Capitol and Donald Trump against liberals.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But like, and it's funny because like one of the guys had a shirt on that said insurrection.
Reunion? Insurrection
Yeah.
reunion. Yeah, I saw that guy. I was like, really?
Anyway, so like obviously the risk management part of my brain was like, it's not really not gonna be welcoming. It's probably gonna be more the risk leaning towards risk and combating and whatever the case. I expected confrontation to be sure, like whatever degree that would be. It was unlikely that it would be anything violent, right? Which is like if we expected violence, we wouldn't have come. Because that would be extremely risky. We wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and we wouldn't be able to do the thing that we decided to do. Okay, so
exactly.
that's how you came into it.
Yeah.
So for me, it was I think that I actually thought like it would be a lot of people who were excited and that they were less concerned with us and more concerned with them winning. I felt like it would be an actually more docile version of I'm using these big words. We have to stop doing this. That they'd be more calm than they even were during the election, where they thought that they were going to lose potentially, and so we were a threat, or they knew that we were against them, and so we were a threat. So now they won, and so they're, I was like, I think they're going to be chilling. So, but I noticed that as we geared up, like we landed here, where everyone's gathering, and then everyone stayed here in this Airbnb, and then we were like, we got to get ready to go the next day. I felt like I got chippier. Like I started like,
no, for real.
Yeah, we started like kidding around more and being a little less sensitive with each other as we knew that we were about to like go out into.
Yeah, I think like we were definitely getting more combative and provocative. That's what it
Provocative,
was. We were definitely being more provocative with each other in our words and the way that we interacted. And a part of it is like I'm like filled with combat and also comebacks, where I'm just like taking people down verbally, like I'm practicing for the field.
Yeah.
And I think like being also transparent that like this is kind of like the mode that we're in, and like kind of like getting straight at that.
The mode that we're in as just us as CP.
The mode that we're in, well, also like the environment that we're entering into.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Yes, sure. Okay, so that didn't happen. We didn't. So
no.
How are you treated?
Yeah, it was very much like okay, sure, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was also like.
And you were.
Woo!
Yeah. Well, you were approaching people and you were like, "Hi, I'm a lib," and I
I'm
was
a
like,
progressive. Yeah.
"Yeah, I want to talk to you," and they're like, "Cool." You
No,
got
for real.
you
Like
got
Matthew and I, we would pick out characters and we would just be like, hey, do you want an interview? We are progressives and we just kind of want to understand more about what people are thinking about in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
And then almost everybody said yes.
Yeah.
I'd be down to do an interview.
Yeah.
Some people backtracked a little bit when they heard we were progressives. One lady straight up said, I ain't doing that anymore. Last time I got dragged on Facebook. So no more interviews.
She was like, I was on the Daily Show and I'm not doing it. Jordan Klepper had his way with me on the interview. So we ended up with some really good conversations.
Yeah.
And you're gonna see some of those. You're gonna see some of those conversations. I think there might be like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
But we're gonna put out.
But there were some things that you said you expected that actually was true, like the makeup of the crowd and who was going to be there, right?
Yeah. What was that? I don't remember what I.
Man, I was trying to tee you up.
Oh, sorry.
The fact that like.
Yes, I said
okay,
that. I said that. It was when I said that I think there's going to be a lot more black and brown people there, and it wouldn't be just white people.
Mm-hmm. So we wouldn't stand out.
Yeah, and we didn't. We walked around, and there were so many more black and brown people there than we expected. Latino families, Korean groups of women in traditional garb, East African men. There were a lot of black men with flags. Mm-hmm. Like, black men carrying flags was like a thing here. I don't know what it is. I think it's kind of like I'm here to prove that I'm like all the way in, maybe. But a lot of solitary black men.
They came alone.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that. It was like, it was singular black men. I saw them all over the place. There's one exception that was two or three guys, and they had their kids with them. But yeah, the families, most of the families I saw outside of like white people were like Latinos.
Asian.
And Asian folks. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like super happy and proud.
Oh yeah.
So we're not going to unpack all that right now. I think the thing that was true though also, and I felt this at about the middle of the day, after we spent a couple like 2-3 hours there, I was like, at some point, because we were there when J.D. Vance and Donald Trump were sworn in.
We heard the cannons.
We heard that people were on their phones watching the things live, and so people would cheer as they were getting sworn in, and then we heard the cannons, and people were like right there in front of the Capitol, as close as you can get to the Capitol building, and so we saw that like the joy wash across the crowd. We were in the middle of that, and then people listening to Donald Trump's address on like loudspeakers and makeshift things, but it was at that point, like right after that point, I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah. Like I didn't feel under attack. I didn't feel unsafe. And also it felt like I was in the middle of this alternate reality that I tried to stop. Mm-hmm. It was an alternate reality that I tried to stop, and it's true. And I was inside of a nightmare. Right. Like I wasn't in danger, but I was in a nightmare. And
because like I remember us talking about like we would have visions of what would happen if it was Kamala instead. Yeah. Right? Like what would the celebration look like if we won? Mm-hmm. What would the people on TV look like if they were interviewing our side? Yeah. Like all of these things, and in a way, like it felt like an exercise in stretching, literally. Like the core of myself was here, and then I had to stretch myself here. Like I literally stretched what my sense of reality was to meet other people's sense of reality. Because if I stayed where I thought, the world was sane and the facts made sense and that should be enough, I would never be able to talk to people in that crowd.
Yeah, because you have to accept that their reality is true.
It's true. It's their truth.
Yes. And so because you're talking to them, and so how do you have a conversation where you take what they give you and then you like build on it, or you go to the next logical attached question, or you have a follow-up question or comment or something like that. You have to go like, okay, got it. The earth is flat. Okay, so when we're walking and we fall off the edge, like you have to have that logical conversation. And it's a mental shift. And what I would say to that is, because I keep, we've been saying, like, we all have been saying this thing about, like, we should continue to be outraged. And this is abnormal. And I understand the logic behind that. And also, if it is complete outrage all the time by this, we will not last the 4 years. At some level, I believe we have to accept that this is a new reality. It is the new normal.
Or another reality and another normal, right?
I mean, another one in that, like, but it's one that we exist in.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, we all exist in this reality where he is president. He makes the rules. He sets new ways of operation that our government that controls so much of our lives that it will have to comply with. There are ways for us to push back, and there are things that we don't have to accept, especially given, like, different levels of privilege. But I think that we can't accurately meet it or understand it if we decide to, like, toss it all.
Yeah.
If we say that I don't accept any of this and it's not real, then, like, I don't think that we can actually make progress in this new space.
Yeah. But the thing is, so taking that step though, right? Something that we also talked about is that's really as far as you need to go though on, like, to really get through the next 4 years. It's just to understand that, like, there's a chunk of Americans that have a new reality, or that, like, have an existing reality that's very much different than ours, and it's just becoming more recognized now because Trump won.
Well, I mean, and their reality is, like, being
mainstream.
It's being mainstream, and sorry, it's impacting us.
Yes, it is, because, like, you can't deny the fact that, like, there's people in Trump's inner circle that have taken over our news media, right? And media and news shape reality.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's censorship on TikTok now, if you use a US VPN, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of ways that reality is shifted already.
Yes.
And has shifted already for the folks that have voted for him ardently. I think, but, like, that understanding is the beginning, and maybe some folks, like, I don't think there should be an expectation for people to, like, go beyond that, maybe, because just understanding, I think, is enough. Because what we kind of understood too is that the people we should be talking to and trying to reach out are actually not the people who are far out there.
Right.
We should be reaching out to the people who didn't vote our way.
Yeah. So or didn't vote at all.
Yeah.
And that's a huge deal. So
yeah.
I think a good part of this message is, while we went as far as going all the way to the kind of heart of MAGA on Inauguration Day, that is not where I think that common power needs to go. That's not what we think. We're not going to be moving field work so that we can all better understand the people who are furthest to the right. This was kind of a one-time thing.
Once in a lifetime, literally.
It's a one-time thing. And twice in a lifetime, actually, unfortunately. But it was a one-time thing, and this is as far as we think we should go. And from doing this, we know a few things. One, we think that the people this far are not convertible, and we don't need to convert them in order to win. We actually need to understand them I think as much as we have so far, and no more, actually, with a lot of depth. I think that we're going to run into them in elections and stuff, and we'll find out more about them and election results and data and that kind of thing. But to go this far more often throughout the year is not what's going to happen. The next thing is that some of the people we talked to who were very much still like, this is perfect and this is going to go our way, they haven't seen his policies yet. We don't know what's going to happen, like what will come of some of the executive actions. Those executive actions are going to negatively impact some of the people who we talk to, and then we're going to see them come back around. So now is also not the time to talk to them. What you're talking about also is the mission should never be that we need to convince the whatever 51% of the country to move over to our side. We lost because that middle percentage point. That's what we're going for at Common Power. We want to find those people and talk to them. And I think in December, what we thought is that 1% was actually over on their side, or 1 or 2 or whatever,
Right.
low single digits percentages were over on their side, and they had moved from the middle to their side, or from our side to their side. The thing that is coming out now, or that came out in December, is true voting data. And what that data is telling us is that actually the margins were most impacted by our people not voting, by registered Democrats not voting in battleground states. I think it's hundreds of thousands of people.
What's that guy's name if people want to look at it?
Tom Bonnier.
There you go.
Tom Bonnier on Blue Sky, actually. Tom Bonnier left Twitter, or X, right after Elon Musk decided to throw up the Nazi salute, which is, it's a whole other thing. It's just, there's a lot here. We don't want to get into all of it, but we want to give you all a taste of where we are today, the day after inauguration, having spent hours with Trump voters. Those videos again are on YouTube, some of them, and then more of them will come through. And a bunch of them are on Slack as well.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna wrap this up.
No,
So-
wait.
Huh?
Yeah.